Something has just happened, Libra, something you were never meant to know about. It took place in a quiet room. Doors shut, curtains drawn, the kind of silence that hides guilt more than it holds peace. There, your name was spoken. Not once, not twice, but again and again, as if saying it too many times could justify what they'd done. It wasn't a casual talk. It was a meeting, a secret one, woven in tension, hesitation, and fear. Each voice carried its own agenda, yet behind their words, there was one unspoken truth. They knew they were wrong. And when it was over, Libra, someone couldn't hold it in anymore. They walked out, trembling, silent, broken, tears streaming down a face that once carried pride. Because when light meets darkness, something always breaks. And this time, it wasn't you. Before we go deeper into this message, pause for a moment. Take a breath and write in the comments, "I am divinely protected and no secret can harm me." Let this affirmation echo through the energy of this video. Let it reach the unseen realms where truth is being restored on your behalf. Because this isn't a story of revenge. It's a story of revelation. Spirit wants you to know, what was whispered in the dark is now trembling under the weight of light. The truth is rising, and every hidden conversation, every quiet betrayal, every manipulative smile, it's all beginning to unravel. You see, the universe has a way of turning even secret rooms into confession chambers. And tonight, those who tried to manipulate your name are realizing something powerful. You were never unguarded. You were never defenseless. Even when you didn't speak, heaven was speaking for you. They thought they were unseen, but Spirit was sitting right there with them, listening to every word, watching every intent, recording every vibration. That's why the energy shifted the way it did. That's why one heart couldn't pretend anymore. Because when your name is pure, it carries light, and light exposes everything it touches. Stay with me, Libra. What I'm about to share next isn't gossip, it's revelation. This moment, this secret meeting, has already set something in motion. Their tears weren't just guilt, they were the signal that the balance of energy is shifting in your favor. Everything that was done in silence is now answering to divine justice. And you, Libra, you are about to see how the universe clears your name without you lifting a finger. Stay until the end, because this is not only about what they said, it's about what's coming next. The same tears that fell in regret are opening doors for your peace, your restoration, and your rise. This meeting may have ended in whispers, but your story is about to begin in light. Take, for instance, Libra, a quiet room, dimly lit, curtains pulled tightly to block out the world. The air feels thick, not from heat, but from tension. Every word spoken there carries weight. Every breath feels like it's hiding something. Phones are silenced, eyes dart from one person to another, and though no one says it aloud, everyone knows. This meeting isn't innocent. They didn't gather to celebrate you. They gathered to dissect you, to analyze your peace, your silence, your sudden glow that's been impossible to ignore. But beneath their words, there's a deeper energy, a mix of curiosity, guilt, and fear. Someone in that room has been carrying your name like a secret they couldn't control. They told stories about you that weren't true, twisted by jealousy, layered with pride. They tried to turn your light into a rumor, your strength into a threat. But something shifted tonight. Because when divine light decides to enter a place, nothing stays hidden. It slipped quietly into that room, unseen, unstoppable, and sat in the very center of their circle. One by one, the voices began to falter. The more they spoke, the heavier the atmosphere became, until the loudest one, the very person who started it all, couldn't keep pretending anymore. Their heart started to pound, their voice cracked, and as they tried to speak, their throat tightened with something far stronger than pride. It was guilt. The truth had entered the room, and it made breathing difficult for anyone standing on lies. They remembered you, Libra. They remembered the moments you showed kindness, even when they didn't deserve it. They remembered the times you stayed quiet, even when you could have exposed them. You chose grace over confrontation, peace over pride, and now that memory haunted them. Because nothing torments a guilty soul more than the goodness of the person they wronged. The tears that filled their eyes weren't from weakness. They were from awakening. They suddenly saw themselves as Spirit saw them, small, flawed, and ashamed. And in that moment, the whole atmosphere changed. The room that once felt powerful now felt haunted by truth. Their words turned to whispers, their courage drained, and the power they thought they had over your name disappeared. Spirit wants you to know this, Libra. What they discussed in the dark will soon turn into their confession in the light. Because divine energy was there, not invited, not expected, but fully present. It sat in silence, recording every word, every lie, every hidden motive. And now that energy is returning to you, cleansed and transformed. Those who tried to control the narrative are now realizing that your truth was never theirs to shape. Their plan fell apart the moment Spirit entered that space. Because when divine justice sits in a room, no deception can survive. So don't worry about what was said, Libra. Don't lose sleep wondering what they decided. That meeting wasn't about your downfall, it was about your revelation. The one who spoke against you has already been humbled, and the ones who listened in silence will soon be forced to confront what they allowed. You didn't have to be there, because your energy was. And your energy carried light, strong enough to dissolve their darkness. By the time that meeting ended, the power had shifted completely. They came together to diminish you, but they left realizing you were never small. Because no human scheme can stand against the presence of divine truth. And as Spirit whispers tonight, the same room that once held your name in accusation will soon echo with your vindication. Libra, these past few days may have felt different. You might have woken up in the middle of the night without knowing why. Maybe you felt your heart racing for no reason, or a strange heaviness pressing against your chest. Even the air around you might have felt thicker, charged, as if something unseen was moving. That wasn't your imagination. That was your spirit knowing before your mind did. Because your energy has always been sensitive, deeply connected to the unseen, aware of shifts others can't feel. When your name began to echo through that secret meeting, your soul picked up the vibration instantly. You might have felt restless, distracted, emotional for no clear reason. That's because your name was being carried through the air, not just in conversation, but in emotion. Words hold power, Libra, and the energy behind them travels. The universe listens to every vibration. So when they spoke about you, their fear, their regret, their guilt, it rippled through the spiritual realm like a quiet storm. Spirit wants you to understand something sacred. When someone with divine favor is mentioned, the atmosphere reacts. Because your name isn't just a sound, it's a frequency wrapped in light. When it's spoken with ill intent, the energy doesn't wound you, it returns to sender. And when it's spoken with guilt, it stirs divine correction. That's what's happening now. A major energetic rearrangement has begun. What was once hidden is being exposed. What was meant to block you is now clearing your path. The tears that fell in that room weren't random. They were a signal, a message to the universe that the scales of karma were ready to move again. Those tears marked the start of a spiritual reversal. Every word spoken in darkness has now become fuel for your rise. Every attempt to dim your light has turned into proof of your strength. Because truth always finds its way back to balance. And you, Libra, are the embodiment of that balance. You may notice small changes now. People who once avoided you may suddenly reach out. Opportunities that seemed delayed will begin to flow again. You'll walk into spaces that once felt heavy and feel them lighter. This is not coincidence, it's divine recalibration. Spirit says, your silence moved mountains. While you said nothing, heaven was busy. Your stillness was your prayer. Your peace was your weapon. And now, the energy that once resisted you is bowing in surrender. Those who stood against your peace will soon feel what it's like to wrestle with their own conscience. Not because you wished harm, but because divine justice needs completion. Your absence, your quiet withdrawal, will echo louder than any confrontation could. They will feel your silence like thunder. And as all of this unfolds, stay grounded, Libra. Do not react. Do not reach out. Just rest in the knowing that everything is being handled beyond your sight. Because this isn't revenge. It's reversal. It's the universe rewriting the story in your favor. You are not being vindicated by words or explanations. You are being vindicated by divine orchestration. Every vibration, every feeling, every sleepless night, it was leading to this exact moment. The energy has shifted, Libra. And from this point on, everything spoken against you will become the soil from which your blessings grow. Libra, even in that room filled with whispers, there was one heart that refused to stay silent. While others chose judgment, one voice, calm, steady, and clear, spoke in your defense. They couldn't let the lies continue, not about you. Because deep down, they knew your spirit. They had felt your kindness. This person sat quietly for most of that meeting, listening, observing the tension grow. They watched as others spoke with pride, fear, and guilt, each one trying to justify their part in the story. But as the air thickened with falsehood, something inside them shifted. Their conscience couldn't take it anymore. They took a breath, and when they finally spoke, the whole room changed. Their tone wasn't loud, but it carried truth. They reminded everyone of your goodness, how you forgave when others would have held grudges, how you remained calm when you could have exposed the truth, how you treated people with grace, even when they disrespected you. They painted a picture of your soul that silence could no longer deny. It wasn't about proving you right. It was about honoring what was real. And in that moment, the room felt different. The tension that once filled the air began to fade, replaced by a strange quiet, the kind that comes when truth finally enters a space. This person didn't defend you for recognition. They didn't do it to be praised or noticed. They did it because their spirit aligned with yours. You share an unseen bond, a spiritual thread that connects pure hearts across distance. That's why, lately, you might have thought of someone unexpectedly. Maybe their name appeared in your mind. Maybe you dreamed of them, not vividly, but enough to feel a sense of peace when you woke. Or maybe, out of nowhere, you felt warmth in your chest when their energy crossed your thoughts. That's not random, Libra. That's resonance. That's your higher self recognizing a defender of light. Spirit wants you to understand. You were never completely alone. Even in moments when it felt like the world turned against you, someone was standing up for you when you weren't in the room. Someone refused to let your light be dimmed by others' shadows. Their courage became your protection. Their honesty became your restoration. And because of that one moment, that act of spiritual bravery, something powerful shifted in the unseen. The lies began to crumble. The false narratives started to lose their grip. It was as if a divine wind entered the space and blew away every lingering deception. What was once a web of confusion began to untangle, one truth at a time. Spirit says when a soul speaks in defense of the innocent, the heavens listen. That's exactly what happened, Libra. This person's words weren't just heard by those in that room. They were heard by the divine. The vibration of truth pierced through every false layer like light breaking through stained glass. And though you may never know their name, you'll feel their presence in quiet moments, in sudden peace that replaces your worry, in a calm that finds you when you least expect it. That's the echo of gratitude from the universe, reminding you that even when unseen forces tried to oppose you, another unseen force, love, truth, and divine protection, stood up for you. Because light always finds its way to defend light. And in that meeting, Libra, your light had an ally. And that ally turned the entire atmosphere in your favor. Now, Libra, let's talk about the one who walked out of that meeting in tears. The one who couldn't stay seated any longer because the truth started pressing too heavily on their chest. That person carried something, not in their hands, but in their spirit, a secret that had been burning them from the inside. They thought they could control the story. They believed they could manipulate how others saw you, shift perceptions, and quietly turn hearts against you without ever being caught. For a while it worked. They enjoyed being the one who knew something about you, the one others listened to. But lies always have an expiration date, Libra. And when your name was spoken in that room again, when it echoed off the walls with that same quiet power you carry, Something inside them cracked. It wasn't your name that broke them. It was what came with your name. The memories, the moments they had tried to bury. They remembered your kindness, how you helped them when no one else would, how you prayed for them when they were at their lowest, how you never held their mistakes against them. They remembered your laughter, that gentle, healing sound that made people feel seen. And in that instant, Libra, it hit them. They hadn't hurt just anyone. They had betrayed someone who once carried them with love. Those tears weren't a sign of weakness. They were confession. They cried because the truth finally reached them, that they had cursed what was meant to bless them, that they had tried to dim the very light that once guided their way. The energy in that room shifted when they wept. Everyone felt it, even those who didn't understand why. Because those tears carried energy. They were a signal in the spirit realm that something old had just been released. They didn't cry out of fear of being exposed. They cried because guilt had become unbearable. Their heart finally realized that no amount of gossip could undo the purity of your heart. Spirit says their tears have now become your release. The very emotion that shook them free of deceit has also unbound you from the energy that was holding you back. That emotional outpour wasn't just human, it was spiritual. It was heaven's way of saying, it's done. The moment remorse entered their heart, the spiritual cords that had tied your progress snapped apart. The invisible resistance you felt, the stagnation, the missed opportunities, the strange delays, those were all connected to the energy of that person's deceit. But now that remorse has surfaced, that energy has dissolved. You may start to notice things shifting quickly, Libra. Doors opening that once felt locked, people reaching out with apologies or unexpected kindness, emails, messages, or invitations that seem to come out of nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual alignment returning to you. The air around your destiny is clearing. The path that once felt foggy is now illuminated. Even the heaviness you've been carrying in your chest may begin to lift, as if the universe itself is breathing on your behalf again. Spirit whispers, their tears washed away what their words had built against you. The balance has been restored. You don't need revenge, Libra. You've already received divine correction. And while that person may never come forward to admit what they did, their tears already told heaven everything it needed to know. So don't look back. Don't wonder if they'll apologize or make things right. They already did in the only way the soul truly can, through surrender. And that surrender became your freedom. Walk lighter now, Libra, because the very person who once tried to limit your light has unknowingly become the reason you shine brighter than ever. That's the divine irony of truth. It always finds its way home. Libra, your entire life has always revolved around one sacred principle: balance. Not perfection, not control, but divine justice in motion. You've always been the one who seeks fairness, who tries to keep peace even when chaos surrounds you. And this secret meeting, the one that happened without your knowledge, was not a setback. It was the final test of that very law you were born to carry. Every false judgment, every quiet insult, every hidden act of betrayal, they all gathered spiritual weight over time. And now that weight has reached its limit. It cannot sit still any longer. It must return to where it came from. But Libra, Spirit wants you to understand. This isn't punishment. It's awareness. The energy that left your life unjustly is now circling back, not to harm, but to teach. Those who spoke carelessly, those who plotted in shadows, those who joined in silence, they are about to see with open eyes what it truly means to mishandle a pure soul. They will experience what you once felt, not to destroy them, but to awaken them. Because divine balance doesn't seek revenge, it seeks recognition of truth. And the truth is that your name was never meant to be dragged through the mud. It was meant to be written in light. Now you are entering a new season. A sacred phase where no rumor can touch your reputation, no whisper can stain your peace, and no false word can overshadow what heaven has already confirmed about you. Your light will begin to speak louder than any explanation could. You won't need to defend yourself, Libra. Your energy will do it for you. People will begin to feel the truth when they see you. Your presence will correct every false narrative that's ever been told about you. Spirit whispers gently, your silence was your loudest defense. When you chose peace over retaliation, you handed the entire situation to divine order. And heaven took note of that. Because silence, when it comes from a place of wisdom, is not weakness, it's power. You could have fought back. You could have exposed what they did, matched their words, or called out their hypocrisy. But you didn't. You chose stillness. And that stillness became your greatest weapon. Now the divine is taking your side openly. It's balancing the scales on your behalf. One by one, the same voices that once spoke against you will begin to whisper your praise. Not because they suddenly admire you, but because truth will demand it. Spirit will not allow them to rest until they acknowledge the light they tried to dim. Soon, you'll notice how the energy shifts when you enter a space. People who once avoided your gaze will now look at you with quiet respect. Those who doubted you will begin to remember your kindness, your patience, your calm. That's balance finding its way home. Every word they spoke is returning, not as anger, but as realization. And every ounce of pain you felt is transforming into power, the kind that doesn't shout, but radiates. You are being elevated, Libra, not by human approval, but by divine design. Because the truth always has a way of resurfacing, and when it does, it brings justice with it. This chapter of your life closes with peace, not chaos. And as balance returns, it will restore more than your name. It will restore your confidence, your trust, your faith in the timing of the universe. So stand still and breathe. You don't need to chase closure, it's already arriving. You don't need to search for justice, it's already unfolding. Everything that was taken from you in silence is being returned to you in light. And the same meeting that once discussed your downfall has now become the reason for your rise. Every betrayal carries a hidden gift, Libra. Every secret meeting, every whispered plan, every moment they thought you were unaware, it was never just an attack. It was a mirror. If this had not happened, Libra, you might never have seen just how deeply you are protected. You might not have realized that even in your silence, heaven was working non-stop to defend you. You would have continued to believe that peace meant weakness, when in truth, your peace was your shield. Spirit allowed this event to happen, not to break you, but to reveal you, to show you that your presence alone is powerful enough to disturb anything built on falsehood. You don't need to speak, argue, or expose anyone. Your very energy exposes deceit simply by existing. Your light doesn't chase darkness, it simply enters, and everything hidden begins to tremble. What they did in secret was never truly hidden. It was seen by divine eyes that miss nothing. And though you were left wondering why people's hearts shifted, why certain things fell apart, now you understand. It was divine rearrangement. The universe was moving things out of your path that no longer matched your vibration. This wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't punishment, it was purification. What left your life wasn't meant to stay. And what stayed through the silence, that's where your true circle begins. Someone's tears in that meeting were not just emotional, they were spiritual proof that guilt has finally met its mirror. For too long, they carried darkness comfortably. But when they spoke your name, the reflection of your purity confronted their deceit. And when truth stared back, it broke them. Those tears weren't a victory for you to celebrate. They were a sign that divine justice has completed its work. The scales have balanced, Libra. Karma has spoken softly, not in rage, but in awareness. The one who once mocked your calm now envies it. The one who questioned your strength now fears your peace, because your calm has proven something that no defense could ever prove. That grace has already won. That you are not fighting for your peace. You are peace. And those who tried to shake you only helped reveal the depth of your spiritual foundation. So don't see this as sorrow, Libra. See it as closure. A quiet ending to a storm that never truly touched you. You were covered the entire time, protected in silence, guarded by timing, and uplifted by unseen hands. This betrayal was a doorway. It showed you who was real, But more importantly, it reminded you who you are. Light in its purest form. And as you step forward, let this truth settle in your heart. You lost nothing that was meant to stay, and you gained everything that was meant to find you. The blessing was never in the meeting. It was in your response to it. You stayed calm, and heaven crowned you with peace. You stayed kind, and the universe honored you with release. Now, Libra, you walk free, not from pain, but from the illusion that you were ever unprotected. Libra, it's done. The secret meeting has ended. The whispers have faded. The energy has settled. And in the unseen realm, a final decision has been made. The verdict isn't human, it's divine. Your name, once carried through rumors and envy, now rests in the hands of heaven. Pure, protected, and favored. You don't need to defend yourself anymore. You don't need to prove your worth, explain your side, or clear your reputation. Spirit has already done that for you. Every lie spoken in secret has turned into a lesson for its speaker, and every attempt to twist your truth has now bent itself toward your victory. You don't need revenge, Libra. You only need alignment. Because the universe is rearranging itself around your peace. Every false vibration that once surrounded your name is being dissolved by divine justice. Your story has shifted from accusation to elevation. And now even the ones who spoke against you will see that your spirit cannot be dimmed. So breathe deeply. Release the tension from your shoulders. You are seen, you are protected, you are free. Say it once more in the comments, Libra. Let the energy of your words seal what heaven has already confirmed. I am divinely protected, and no secret can harm me. Let those words be your armor and your reminder that grace has already cleared your path. And if this message has reached your soul tonight, if it feels like it was meant for you, don't just leave silently. Subscribe and stay close to the voice of the universe that speaks through these moments. Because your next chapter isn't about being discussed behind closed doors anymore. It's about being discovered in the open. Revealed, celebrated, and lifted into the light.